Hi, everybody. Welcome to Our Conspiracy. I'm Amy. I am back in Thailand, which is an incredible place, very exotic, and there's a lot of very cool things to draw and paint. And a couple of people have asked me about my artistic life here. One of the things that I do is I go out weekly with a small group of women, friends, artists, and every week we go to a temple complex. They call them a Wat here, and we sketch and paint. And anyway, I thought I would give you a little peek as to what that is like. First of all, I want to say I get up early in the morning when it's still cool, and I hop on my scooter and I head to our location, or sometimes I get a ride with one of the ladies who have a car. I don't have a car, and I'm telling you, that scooter ride to our rendezvous is really where the journey begins, because I get on my bike and there is so much just stimulation and wonderful things that I see on my way. The man sweeping in the street with his little stick broom, and the food stand, and a chedi, a golden chedi rising up, and a big patch of light on a white wall, or texture, or color, or nature. There's so many things. By the time, I could stop every 5 minutes and do a piece of art here. Seriously, I really love it. It's such a wonderful place. To be an artist. So anyway, we go out each week. There's five of us, and we go out and sketch. And so we get to this temple complex, this Wat. It's a Wat, and it has many buildings. And some of them are smaller, some of them are bigger, some are older. So, they're not all the same, but there's multiple things that you can draw. And so the fun part of it, anyway, is figuring out what we're going to do. So the first thing I do, I think others do the same thing. When we get there, is we put down our stuff and we walk around and we reconnaissance, and we try to figure out, what's what. So let me share some of the images, which I think you will enjoy. So here's one of the typical temple buildings that you might see. Just beautiful, interesting, ornate, dark interiors and golden exteriors and vivid blue sky, or not. And maybe it's a gray day, but this is very typical of what you might find at the temple complex. And it's interesting because you walk around and you can look and see like a big view, like from further away. The buildings, or this, in this case, they're huge statues. You can imagine the scale here. Or you can look at smaller things. There's very interesting, ornate, a lot of symbolic statues, and a lot of stuff I don't understand at all. Most of it I don't think I understand. But it's a lot of the Buddhist tradition and the Hindu and the animist, and there's just so many different things that you can put into your work. There's people. These are people praying. Sometimes we go to a quiet temple. And, sometimes I'm looking for the best thing to draw, or an interesting thing to draw. But sometimes I just start with looking for a comfortable place to sit, because it's hot in Thailand, and, you don't want to be in the sun. And, you want a comfortable place to sit. I have a little portable stool, but sometimes I look for a bench and I sit myself on the bench, sit myself down, and then I look and decide what I want to do. Anyway, here's some food areas. A lot of times there's little coffee shops in the Wat complex, or little stores. Sometimes there's things adjacent to the Wat that you can look at. I love these kind of golden images that are, gold leaf, and people buy little swatches of gold leaf and paste them to the statue. And the breeze blows and they flutter. They're just beautiful. And I have not painted one of these. Oh, actually, I've painted a gold things, but not this flaky, flecked one. I want to do that. There's also something like this. You're like, what? Anyway, I'm not sure the story of this gorilla. I heard that they actually had a gorilla, that the people actually took care of for many, many years. And this is a tribute to that animal. I don't know. But it's just, I love that you never know what to expect. You have this beautiful sacred statue, and then you have this gorilla, and what do you make of it? I don't know. And then here's another thing, peek around the corners and you see unexpected things. Here's the Buddha, literally, up to its neck in these gifts for the monks. People buy these sort of pre-made packaged gifts that have toothpaste and toiletries and, some food stuffs, and that, they donate them to the temple because the monks don't have anything of their own. And so anyway, they're storing them, and this Buddha is neck deep in these buckets. And I thought that was pretty funny. This is actually, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but here's a spigot right in the middle. This is a sink, believe it or not. It's got a bunch of stuff on top, and I'm not even sure what these things projecting on the top, but for me, this is the essence of Thailand here. Is that the most mundane thing can look interesting to me. It's very exotic and fun, and you got piles of bricks, and you got stuff here and golden statues, and anyway, it's all mixed up. I love it. So here I have so many things at my disposal to paint. Look at this. I took this picture today, and just amazing. You can see how big the statue is. You can see the little people down here. Just amazing. So what do I choose? This is what I picked to paint. I'm sitting in the foreground here looking at this. Now, this might not look like much, but I'm going to go in a little bit closer and I'll show you. This is what my eyes kind of, observed. This sort of stage set. I like doing scooters. They're a lot of fun. And the backlit scooters and all this riot of wires and the awning hanging here. I just thought that was kind of interesting. And here's my little thumbnail. So I usually do a little thumbnail that is the essence of the image or the essence of the composition. And for me, it was this wonderful shape of the two bikes, the two scooters, just framed again by this kind of stage set background and a high contrast light and dark. So I plopped down and I had a great time. Anyway, let me show you. Here is what I have so far. And I'm happy with it, but I have some more work to do. It's the first layer. And let me tell you some of the things that I want to fix. And let me give you a side by side. The thumbnail can really give you some good information. So what is it that I loved about the thumbnail was that high contrast, and I lost that a little bit. So what I want to do in this next few minutes, while you're watching, if you want to stick around, is I'm going to darken all around. You can sort of see I'm going to darken this too, which is going to be challenging because it's yellow. So how do you make it dark yellow? And anyway, I'm going to do a glaze of color on top. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm going to give it a try. So I'm going to increase the contrast. I may use a little white to even lighten up the middle a little bit more again, and the light coming through on the ground. Yeah, another thing that happened is that this bike back here is a little bit too small. It doesn't read very well as a second bike. I could just take it out of there, which is pretty dramatic, but I think I might just make it a little bit bigger, and I have to separate the two wheels here in the back as part of my challenge. And also the kickstand is like too scrawny and too long. I'm going to make that a little bit shorter. So I have some ideas. I also have cords that are holding up this banner, and I'm going to put them in with some mixed media tricks. So that's my plan, and I'm going to try to do this right now. So stick around and watch. I would love to have you. Be right back. Okay, so I just got to tell you, I have no idea how this is going to go, but I'm going to give it a try. So first thing I'm going to do is change the shape of this bike a little bit. So you can see I'm kind of redrawing, making things a little bit bigger. Just reconfiguring this a little bit. And what I typically do when I'm doing a correction is I make the correction. So I'm making this bigger. Okay, I'm going to change this. So I'm making my new shapes. Maybe this other mirror is going to show up. Just to try to sell it that there's a second bike back here. Because I feel like it's kind of confusing. Anyway, I make the correction and then I try to hide the correction. So, all right, I got this going. I also want to separate out these wheels. So I need to make this bigger. Wow, so you can see the new lines. And I think I'm going to have to get some white and use some white to make these corrections. A couple things while you weren't looking. I'm tricky that way. Anyway, I'm sort of defining some of the aspects of this bike a little bit clearer. And I added this two little features here, pretty small things. I like the reflection here of this headlamp. I might define this just a tiny bit more. Okay, this guy's going to be nice and dark. You can see I'm using marker. Yeah, mixed media, baby. I'm coming in with watercolor in a second, but why not? I'm just going to throw these in with my marker. A lot of control over this, a lot more than I do with the watercolor. And I know this is going to be a hard line, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay. And then my kickstand, wow, it's going to be here and it's going to be way chunkier and fatter. So I got to get rid of this other one. Am I worried about it? No, I am not. It's going to happen. No problem. In my basket. Don't need a lot of information. Okay, so, and then what else do I want to do? Maybe make this turn in space to get a little bit darker. Good. Okay. Yeah, it's already better. Ha ha. Okay, so I did a little test with all these purples because I had this idea to do some violet shadows everywhere. So that's what my plan is. So I'm going in with a nice big brush. And I already have a little violet here lined up. I'm going to put in here. Got my test sheet. Whoa, it's always kind of scary to come in, but you just got to do it. Once you start, then you have fun, you relax, but do a nice veil. That's what I think of it as, a veil of color. So, oh yeah. And even with these secondary marks, I think about the edges of my paper. I like these marks to be interesting. And I'm also going to make this a little flatter going over. Look at that. Oh, nice. I think it's going to work. I'm going to have some streaks, some marks from my brush, and that is okay. Just making everything darker like that thumbnail. I want to go back to that beautiful contrast that I had in the thumbnail. So I'm putting my darker tones in. You can see I'm like changing the direction of my brush too as I go along. some more purple here. Got a little bit more, like a little purple and a little brown, believe it or not, just to make it a little less intense. Good. I'm not going to make it even. Because things are not even. Maybe I'll put it right into my red banner as well. That's good. Definitely got darker. Okay, I might do some more dark in the shadows too. Mixed another batch of paint, and I made it slightly browner, a little bit warmer. I'm making it fairly thin, so even though it's really dark, it's still going to feel like that glaze. Oh yeah. And not putting it everywhere. But I'm continuing to increase the contrast. Good. My paper's moving a little bit. It's not very good paper, which is not an excuse, but it just is a reality. And this I want to be a little darker. There we go, showing the edge of that. And then some of my shadows going to be darker. Under here too. Yeah, so that the light looks more interesting. You know, it's not really even about the shadow, it's about creating the shapes that are the light. Now I'm just softening a little bit. Good. Now, dare I? Oh yes, I dare. Going over my yellow with a little bit of violet. Just because, like I said, in my thumbnail, everything is fairly dark. Good, this is going downhill slightly. That's why I put this line up here, because I'm just making it go uphill now a little bit too. So it's not, you don't want to run down and out of the composition. You want to always move things kind of in an upward way. Okay. Get some dark Payne's gray. That ought to do it. And I can mix a little bit with my purple just to add a little flavor. Okay, I'm gonna redo my bike. Made it bigger. There's some white that's going to go in here, but I'm waiting. That's going to come last. Here we go. I'm not sure if I'm making this better. You know, it's funny. This tire here is like that. It's like up off the ground. This one's on the ground. This one's on the ground, but I'm not sure I'm pulling that off. But it doesn't matter. You know, it's only important if I think it's important, and I say it's not. And I'm the boss. Just adding a little darker. Shadows get darker next to the object. Makes it kind of on the ground. Yeah, just when up in the air. Well, you're out there nodding somewhere. Okay, it's looking pretty good. All right, let me get some of that white I talked about just to see what will happen. This is Chinese white, so if I thin it down quite a bit, you know, it's not going to be totally opaque. So you'll be able to see these tones through it. Yeah, do you see that? Now, the thicker I get, the more opaque it's going to be. But I'm going to add a little light to my bike here. I have to get rid of the old mirror. It's gone. It's magic. And then this one too. I just want to take this up a little bit. Separate out those two wheels a little bit more. This is the kind of detail too. Sometimes I think, I notice, but I don't know if anybody else is going to notice this. Sometimes I work toward the end here on all this small stuff, and then it doesn't add up to a hill of beans. It's like I already got it. You know, I already got the main image. And look at this. I'll try to get down a little bit for you. You can see this paint is like puddling. It's not even. So I'm just showing my new bike here, my new bike frame. So I go up close and have control, and then I'm going around it. And I've really redrawn that bike. So again, I did the correction, and now I'm sort of just hiding the information. It's all about suggestion anyway. Suggestion of bikeness. So that's good. Anywhere else I want to do a little white just for fun? And add a little bit more in here. Maybe make it a little shiny. I had some light, but I got rid of it a little bit. Yeah. Make that bike shiny again. Hit it right here. Little light. Okay. Good. Okay, last but not least, just for fun, I'm going to get my white out, my secret weapon. This is just white out Pentel. You can use a white marker too, or white colored pencil. There's a lot of different things you can use. I'm going to get it going. See right there. Here we go. And then I'm going to do, yeah, look at that. You can't hesitate. Good. I'm not sure if they're going in the way they're supposed to go. The other thing too is I could do create a little interest here while I'm at it. Or I can even add some here. Now this isn't quite dry, but if I want to add some more shine, see that? Whiteout is a great tool for adding little hints of light here and there. Redrawing that tire a little bit. Good. Almost quit prematurely, and I can't have two kickstands here. That just will not do at all. So let me show you how I'm going to fix this right now. Remember, I put in the correction. Now I got to get rid of the old information. While I'm at it here, I'm going to do a little work up here. I don't know. This light has gotten so huge. Just going to just sort of get rid of it. Have it be more of a suggestion of something. I don't know what. There we go. Okay, getting rid of the old kickstand. Here we go. Just going to overpower it. Now that white is really obvious, so I'm going to put it somewhere else. Okay, and then maybe I'm going to mix it with a warm color. I'm going to have to get a little thicker. Using all my dirty colors. A lot of times, watercolor painters talk about, oh, my colors are muddy, but I'm telling you, muddy colors, when you want them, are awesome. So it's not completely gone yet, but I'm working up to it. Might have to use thicker paint. And when this dries, if I have to go over it again a little bit, so be it. I can do that, no problem. But look at that, I got one stand, and it's pretty wet, so it's probably gonna run, but this has definitely gotta be bigger. Need a bike stand that your bike can lean on. Okay, it's spreading. It's spreading. So I gotta wait till that dries. Anyway, you can see there's a little ghost that's coming over here, but when it dries, I can go over that with some opaque paint. I hope you enjoyed that. After we paint and sketch and do our thing, we all go have lunch and we show our work and we talk about it and we critique and support each other. It's really great. I highly recommend you find a posse of your own to do artwork with, even if it's on Zoom, you know. I mean, if you're someplace where the weather is getting bad, but share your work with other people, and it makes it a lot more fun, and you don't feel like you're alone. And people care if you show up and paint. And anyway, I wish you good painting, good sketching, keep in touch, and bye for now. Art Conspiracy. Bye.